Good early Sunday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Casa de Cofelt in Justin, Texas. We wanted to start this video with how we cook in this house, or at least how I cook in this house. And if you're not cooking with wine, then why are you cooking? So first thing we're gonna do is nice wines, but we're gonna go ahead and pour some Justin from Paso Robles because we live in Justin, Texas, and we absolutely love this wine. So I'm going to pass this off to my better half assisting here today. So we're going to go ahead and just grab a little glass, pour some wine. So what we're going to make today is something I call daddy pasta. And the reason we're doing daddy pasta tonight is because 407 Barbecue in Justin, Texas, the best barbecue in Texas, is closed on Sundays. I wanted barbecue, but instead you get to watch me goof off today. So, cheers. Tasty. Okay, so before we did the video, we did a little bit of mise en place. I think I said that right. Thank you, Tyler, and Tim, and all my chef friends. We've got a little bit of pancetta. We've got some sweet yellow onion. Generally, I prefer shallots, but in the apocalypse, I'm not really able to get everything I want, so we'll go sweet onions. I've got some sun-dried tomatoes. I've got about 2.5, maybe 3 cloves of garlic. I've got some grilled chicken that we used on a grilled chicken salad the other night. That's one of the main components. And then for Dawn and her dad, the artichoke hearts. And we're gonna top it off with a little bit of parm, and we'll get into the other topper in a minute. So I'm gonna just put a couple of rounds of olive oil in this preheated pan. While that's happening, you wanna salt our pasta water. We started cooking earlier. You always salt your pasta water because pasta doesn't really come salted. So we got the pasta water salted. You cover it initially so that it'll boil faster. Go ahead and turn the heat up on that. I'm gonna turn the heat up on my pancetta. So I like to cook. I've liked to cook for a long time. My grandmother raised me in our house in New Mexico, and her thought was I needed to be able to take care of myself. So she taught me to cook at an early age, and I've loved it ever since. So we're gonna go ahead and put in our pancetta.
Mention the pan.
Stir that up a little bit. I'm gonna break it up a little bit. It kind of came out of the fridge a little bit cold. You generally would rather have your meats at room temperature. They'll cook better that way. But you can hear that nice sizzle. What we want to do here with this pancetta, there's a couple of things. The reason I use pancetta is it's Italian bacon and it's freaking delicious. We love it. But it's also going to give off a lot of salt and a lot of great flavor. The other side of this is we're going to render down a lot of this fat that's in here, and that fat is going to be what makes up our sauce for this sauceless pasta. So I was mentioning the reason why I made this pasta in the first place. So I've been cooking at home for a really long time, and some of you know, and some of you even tried the red sauce that I make from scratch. Maybe we'll do that in another episode if you guys want to see some stuff. But our oldest daughter, my Taylor Jordan, when she was in high school, she had some acid issues. And she couldn't really handle the deep sauce that I was making. So I came up with this sauceless pasta so that she could enjoy it as well. And then over time, her stomach issues kind of went away. We got that under control, and we were able to add the sun-dried tomatoes and a little bit of crushed red pepper, what we're going to do here as well. And it's been a staple in our house ever since.
And we call it?
And we call this daddy pasta. I probably should have called it Taylor pasta, but she didn't really have anything to do with it other than having a bad gut. So I had to make that. So again, we're just gonna fry this up, get it a little bit crispy. You know what we're gonna do with this pancetta later is we'll take it out of here. I'm gonna set it aside. I'm gonna put half back in the pasta, and then the other half we wait and put on as nice crumbles on the top of the pasta to get a little bit of crunchy texture to it. It tastes pretty good as we're doing that. So you can see these things are kind of getting brown fairly quick. So we just want to keep shaking that up a little bit. Let those go down. Make sure our pasta water is going up pretty high. You can use a screen if you want, but fortunately in my house, I cook, so she cleans. So if I make a little bit of a mess, hi babe. All right, so this is coming along well. This is gonna take a little bit of time. If you're watching this and you have any questions or concerns, oh yeah. So if you like what you see by the end of the video, send me a message and I'll send you the recipe. Really, the way that I cook is, like, this is a complete creation out of my own simple brain. And it was because of a need in our house. But I'll find a recipe, I'll kind of get going on it, and then what we call jackify it. So I'll jackify it, and I'll add a little bit of pancetta, or I'll add red pepper flakes, or a lot of times, because we're from New Mexico, I use a lot of red chili from New Mexico and or green chilies, and add those in for a little bit of different flavor combinations, and it turns out pretty good most of the time. So you can see the color on here, it's starting to brown. I want this to get a little more like a dark red, so it's probably another 2 minutes of this. We'll darken up. So while we're doing this, this is gonna sound like a commercial, and maybe it is, but I'm really doing this video, one, because I love to cook, two, because I'm unemployed at the moment. I got nothing better to do, right? And three, my children have really kind of said, Dad, you're good at this. Why not do a vlog? And I said, what's a vlog? And they had to explain it to me. So that's kind of what brought us all here. And again, because 407 Barbecue was closed tonight. But that's all right. So this stuff is kind of crisping up. Once it gets a little bit more consistent, then I'm gonna take it out and strain it on the paper plate. And then we're gonna put in our aromatics. I don't know if you can hear or not, but if you come around here, babe, put the camera kind of close, you can hear the water's boiling a little bit. I want to get that at a more heavy boil, and it's going to kind of make that lid pop a little bit more. And at that point, we'll add our pasta. The pasta is going to cook for about 9 minutes because we want it al dente. We don't want it super soft because we want it to have a little bit of a crunch to it as we get to it. So this is really coming along nicely. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat down. So yes, for those real cooks out there, I am cooking on electric. That's probably one of the few downfalls in this house, is it didn't have gas. You know, we love our house. We're super happy to live here in Justin, Texas. This house hit 95% of everything we ever wanted, which is why it's our forever home. But we didn't have gas, so maybe down the road, say I get a job again, that'd be cool. I can afford to have a propane tank installed outside, run gas in here, and then I'll be in a really good position. So I think this pancetta is looking really good. So what I'm going to do with the pancetta, I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit more, is I'm going to take the pancetta and I'm just going to put it across a paper towel to kind of absorb some of that extra juice and loveliness. And what this is going to do, or at least what I found, I have no scientific proof. I'm not a trained chef. Everything that I bring up to you guys, I've watched on the Food Network or from my kids who did go to chef school, Tyler, Carrie, Rebecca Kofelt, and Timothy Goolsby. They're Johnson Wales graduates, and they've taught me a bunch as well. We've had some really good friends over the years that were professional chefs that have taught us a thing too. So as I made this, a little bit more of the fat rendered than I wanted. And a lot of times, so you can see there's a pretty good portion of, so that's olive oil and now the pancetta fat that's rendered down in there. I think we'll go ahead and stick with that. In our green pan here, we got our green pan from Sur La Table in South Lake, as well as my pasta pot. Next thing we're gonna do is start with the onions. We're gonna try to go away from ourselves with the onions. And then, so I did not, if you'll notice, I didn't salt the pancetta because the pancetta is already pretty well salted. So as this starts, I'm gonna go ahead and pop in my half a box of parfleys. Right now, I'm just cooking for 2. When the girls were here, we were cooking for 4. Close enough. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in there. So here's a secret that I learned somewhere. Some TV show, some kid, I don't know. But when you put your pasta in, one of the first things you want to do is stir it, right? Make sure it's not going to stick to itself. You're going to cover it back up, but you're going to leave a wooden spoon on top. So when you put your wooden spoon, as that water boils, once it hits that wood, it's not going to overflow. Now watch what happens when it overflows and I make an idiot of myself, but that'll be all right. So we're just sauteing these onions now in that beautiful olive oil and pancetta fat, right? So that's really going to be the basis of this sauce. So those are coming along. I'm trying to heat up a little bit. So again, something that we learned from Chef Roy Choi. We love the chef show in this house. We watched almost every single episode already, multiple times. You can't use enough salt and pepper. You're always seasoning all throughout the meal. Can you see how that yellow onion started out nice and white and it's starting to get a good little color to it? So about that time, I'll go ahead and add, pull over my garlic and my sun-dried tomatoes. Now I add the sun-dried tomatoes into this oil because my youngest daughter, Tyler, the chef, told me that it helps cut out some of the acidity and cut the flavor just a little bit and make these a little bit softer in the meal. So we're gonna saute those sun-dried tomatoes in with this onions before we add the garlic and crushed red pepper. You can see it's starting to get a nice color change. It's actually really tasty. Oftentimes, if I'm thinking about it and not being filmed while I'm doing this, I will take the juice, the oil from the sun-dried tomato can, and I'll add a little bit of that in there to give it a little bit more color. All right, so we're prepping here. We get chickens.
Get your wine.
Yeah, I haven't had any wine in a while. Oh, see, just like I said, it was gonna fail on me. As soon as you hear that, just go ahead and. So we're gonna cook the pasta for about 9 minutes. And because I'm being filmed and not paying as good attention as I normally do, I didn't set the timer, so we're gonna go ahead and set this for like 7 minutes. And we'll just check it here in a little bit. I got that going, I got that going, we're gonna turn that down. That's good. So again, we're starting to see some good color with this onion and red chili pepper flakes. Looking good. The next thing we're probably gonna add is gonna be, so we're gonna add some crushed red pepper as well as the garlic. So we did get about 3 cloves of garlic here. I like to use elephant garlic that I get from Central Market. For those of you in the Central Market world, this is the best grocery store you can ever go to. It's like heaven on earth for cooks. So I get a lot of my ingredients there. Actually, I got the pancetta there. The chicken is Butcher Box chicken. You've probably seen me post memes and stuff about Butcher Box. That's legit. Y'all need to get Butcher Box chicken breasts. Are the best I've ever had. I'm an old fart, and I've been cooking with for a long time, and the Butcher Box chicken breasts are just simply phenomenal. Everything I've ever cooked them in, they've been just super moist, super flavorful. They don't dry out, just outstanding. So you can hear the water is still boiling pretty well for the pasta. So just every once in a while, go ahead and give it a stir. I'm using farfalle. I found with the farfalle, it kind of makes a better mouthfeel as you're doing this. So the next thing I'm going to do is add some red chili pepper flakes. One of the things that I failed to mention as I'm cooking is I don't really measure a lot. I go by feel. Right, wrong, or indifferent. So this one may have a little extra spice to it. It may not. I don't know. But the reason that I use the red chili pepper flakes and I put it in now is that hot oil kind of helps the natural oils of the chili pepper flakes, and especially those seeds, come out and infuse a little bit more in that oil and get a little bit better flavor profile into the overall dish. So the next thing we're going to do is I make a little bit of an area for me to put my garlic. So So I want to get the garlic going. And again, that was about 3 cloves of the elephant garlic that we get at Central Market, because Central Market has the best stuff ever. So I go ahead and I get that garlic in there, and it starts to add that color. I'm gonna add just a little bit more salt as we do this. And a layer of pepper. Salt and pepper, everything. Makes the world go round. Emerald taught me that years and years and years ago. In our house, when the girls were little, we watched Emerald Lagasse almost every night. And then the other show that we watched was, oh, my brain's farting right now. Good Eats. Absolutely love Good Eats. So a lot of the ideas and philosophies that I cook with now, when it's not New Mexican food, the New Mexican food I learned from my grandmother. God bless you, Grandma, I miss you. And then Dawn's grandmother, as well as Grandma Eileen out in Los Alamos, New Mexico. So if you were in our house right now, you wish you had smell-o-vision, because the aromatics in here are really starting to pop up. That garlic gave a nice extra little kick, which smells really, really good. So I think at this point I've got about 3 minutes left on the chicken, or on the pasta. I'm gonna go ahead, and again, this is pre-cooked chicken. I did out on the Traeger. I smoked it, and then I grilled it a little bit, and then we put it into a chicken salad and had a half a breast left, and we'll just add that in. So what I do at this point, after I add that chicken, give it a good stir, kind of incorporate everything. We're gonna do 2 things. Obviously, I'll add a little bit more salt and pepper. You don't have to add a lot of salt and pepper when on the chicken stage, because you've already salted and peppered the chicken when you were grilling the first time. But the other thing that we do is we add some Italian herbs from the Savory Spice store that we met several years back when Tyler got accepted to Johnson & Wales Culinary School. We went up there in Fort Collins, and the owner of Savory Spice, at least in Fort Collins, is a former mayor of Fort Collins. And as we were going through, Tyler was checking things out, and she was showing me different spices, and she was saying, okay, Dad, check this out. She'd open something up and say, okay, this has this flavor profile, this smells like this. Well, what I didn't realize was the mayor was following us a little bit, and she was pretty interested. And so as we were walking around the store, the mayor, the owner, we come to find out she was the mayor, kind of grabbed Tyler and said, hey, come smell this for me. What do you smell? So Tyler would go, and the mayor would open it up. Tyler would smell it and say, bang, 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 bang. And the lady's eyes would just get big. So this went on for about 10-15 minutes. And then we picked out the Savory Spice and a couple other things. I think we got some great vanilla. We got some, okay, I'm gonna stop that story real quick. We're gonna add the artichoke hearts. So the artichoke hearts is an ode to my wife, and from that it's an ode to her father, who used to make artichoke hearts for her when she was a little girl, and she's always loved them. I'm not necessarily a huge fan, but anything to make my wife happy makes my life happy. So there we go with the artichoke hearts. So as I was saying, knuckles big. As we went to the counter, the mayor offered Tyler a job on the spot. Would you please come work for us? And Tyler smiled and said, thank you, ma'am, but I can't. I'm a high school senior in Keller, Texas, and I'm only up here interviewing to go to Johnson & Wales. And the lady said, well, if you ever need a job, you can come work for me anytime. We thought that was a really cool deal. And shout out to Tyler for having an amazing olfactory sense to be able to pick all that stuff out. So we've got the chicken in, we've got the onions in. Regularly I would use shallots, as I said. We've got the garlic in, we've got the red pepper flakes, we've got the savory spice, the Italian blend. It's all coming along well, and now you can hear the timers going for the pasta. So we're gonna check that real quick. Let's see if I don't ruin anything. And we'll take that off, give it a stir. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. So So because I don't clean, just kidding, I'm gonna put this on the table. So what that's doing on this granite is that's kind of cooling it a little bit, so that if I put it in my mouth, perfect. It's not gonna burn my mouth off. Because one of the things you don't want to do, at least when you're cooking around meat, I'm very conscientious of, I don't want to burn your mouth, right? Because then nothing tastes good. You know, all you can think about is the top of your mouth is burnt, the bottom of your mouth, and that's just no fun. So we've got that turned down low. We're gonna take this and we're gonna strain it. So when I strain my pasta, right, wrong, or indifferent, I'll go ahead and turn on some hot water. I'm gonna drain the pasta. I'm gonna rinse it off. I'll use the spray. Should be kind of warm water. But one of the other things that I'll do, as soon as I'm done with this, so then I'm gonna shake it out a little bit. So I'm gonna try to get rid of as much of the moisture in the water as I can. Did you see that one escape? A little turd.
Oh.
We're gonna off camera put that one back into the pot. So I'm gonna put all this pasta back into the pot. And the reason I do that, I'm gonna put it back on the heat, is I want to dry this out a little bit more. I want to take more of this moisture out so that when I put it in the sauce or in the mixture there, Daddy's pasta sauce, it's gonna stick a little bit better. So give that just a few minutes, a few seconds really, because this is just about ready. So one of the last things we're gonna do, as I mentioned earlier, is I'm going to put half of the pancetta back in here. And I'll take that other half and put it onto our table mixture. Right. So that can go on the table when we're ready. Take this, give it a good stir. Okay. So, anybody liking what you're seeing yet? I'm just curious. Or did I make a fool of myself? And that's okay, because I've been doing that for a lot of years. So, here's a Jack philosophy. Every morning of every day, I get up, which is amazing, and I look in the mirror and I laugh. And I figure if I can laugh at myself, I can laugh at the world. Regardless of whether I have a job, whether, whatever I'm doing, I have my wife, I have my kids, I have my health, life is good. So laugh at yourself. Don't take things so seriously. So now we're gonna put that pasta that we've dried out a little bit. We're gonna put that into the mixture. We're gonna kind of incorporate everything here. We're almost at the plating stage. So this is the point where you turn the stove off and don't burn your open arm. I'm gonna add just a little bit more savory spice, the Italian spice blend, in just a minute. One more little dash of salt, and then we're gonna plate this, and then when we plate it, we're gonna do two things. We're gonna use some Pecorino Romano cheese, and we have this finishing oil, one that we got again at the up in Fort Collins. I wish I could remember the name of the store, but there's an olive oil store in Grapevine, Texas, where Post Malone's from, one of my new favorites. What's up, Posty? I could really use some of those Crocs, dude. I'm just saying, I dig them. Add this Tuscan oil from as a finisher, and it's just phenomenal. So let's go ahead, as I said, we're gonna put just a dash more of the Italian seasoning blend. And that's just to give it just a little bit of a final flavor. Then we're gonna add a dash of salt. Kosher salt's what I always cook with. A little pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. I'm about to plate. So I'm gonna take this. Actually, I'll bring the bowl over here. So I'm gonna grab this here. So this will be Dawn's portion, so she gets the majority of those artichoke hearts. I like them. It's not my favorite. She loves them. So that's what we're gonna do there. All right, so that's probably good for Dawn right off the bat. Oh, we have one surprise.
A surprise.
It's not really a surprise. This is Dawn's finish here.
And cheese.
Okay, so
And cheese.
Dawn is a caper freak. Absolutely loves them. So we're gonna take that finishing oil that we talked about. So this is Grapevine Olive Oil Company's Taste of Tuscany. I've probably bought 3 of these over the last 4 years. We use it all the time. So I'm just gonna give it a good little drizzle. Put some grated cheese on there. Not a ton. And then we'll put a few of these crunchies. And it's ready to eat. So I'm gonna put this, oh, yep, for Dawn, we're gonna have her capers. I'm gonna stir this up so it doesn't stick. So it looks like we have leftovers. If there wasn't an apocalypse going on, we'd invite you over, but sorry. So we're gonna take a couple of these peppers. Well, not with that spoon. Take a couple of these capers out here. And again, this is another salt component. The cheese has a big high salt component. Obviously the pancetta has a high salt component. So that's Dawn's. We're gonna move that over here to her plate. I'm gonna get my plate. Same kind of thing. I'm gonna go ahead and fill my plate. So one other thing that I'm gonna just kind of announce. You notice I'm kind of doing this backwards, right? That's because the world hates left-handed people. Everything they make is for right-handed people. Some of us are left-handed in our right minds. Seriously, people, this is ridiculous. Anyway, all right, so I got a good little mixture there. I'm gonna add one more. And then one thing I'm gonna do is take this pot and put it on a trivet away from the heat because I don't want to cook anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and add my little bit of Taste of Tuscany. Put our crunchies on here. And then I'm a bit of a cheese freak, so I went light for Dawn. I'm just a huge cheese fan because I'm a cheesy dude. Ask my kids. All right. So with that, that's off, that's off. I'm gonna grab some forks. I'm gonna get the wine. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the first ever edition of Cooking with a Little Bald Man. I've been nerve-wracked this entire time. Never done this before, but I love to cook. I love to eat. What I really like to do is make my friends happy and tell people that I love them by cooking for them. So here's you guys. Salud. Oh, we gotta do the barbecue pit boys thing. Chef prerogative, have the first bite. That's another great vlog out there, the Barbecue Pit Boys. Huge fan. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a bite of the pasta. Chicken, it's got a little sun-dried tomato on it with one of those artichoke hearts. If you watch the Barbecue Pit Boys, you'll know. Thanks for watching. Dawn and I are gonna eat dinner now and listen to a little Posty. Have a great night.